see. Give it a second. It's working.
Let's just wait on the recording. All right, perfect. Good to go. Excuse me. Hello and welcome to the Lost Confederacy channel. This is week 3 of the 13-week fiscal program of recovery for American prisoners of war. You have myself, Chief Biko, as well as Chief Alligator and Chief Quietwater. And as always, we focus more so on that first letter in the acronym APOW, which is American. Before we start with the readings, we're going to jump into the video of Lyndon B. Johnson, pretty much giving his acting debut pretty much of the 1968 Civil Rights Act. And definitely, as always, just focus on what he's saying in regards to the Negro, but what we're reading in regards to the Negro not being present in any of these documents that he's referring to. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump straight into it. Let me see here. So yes, definitely focus in on what he's saying and how that pretty much is different from what is actually being presented in these documents.
Even while President Johnson talked to Chancellor Klaus about America's responsibility in a time of crisis and challenge, word came from Capitol Hill that Congress had passed and sent to the White House the Civil Rights Act of 1968. Included in the measure was a landmark open housing bill, which, when fully effective, would forbid discrimination in approximately 80% of all housing offered for rent or for sale in the United States.
I do not exaggerate when I say that the proudest moments of my presidency have been times such as this, when I have signed into law the promises of a century. I shall never forget that it is more than 100 years ago when Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. But it was a proclamation. It was not a fact. And in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, we affirmed through law that men equal under God are also equal when they seek a job, when they go to get a meal in a restaurant, or when they seek lodging for the night in any state in the Union. And now the Negro families no longer suffer the humiliation of being turned away because of their race. In the Civil Rights Act of 1965, we affirmed through law for every citizen in this land the most basic right of democracy, the right of a citizen to vote in an election in his country. In the 5 states where the act had its greater impact, Negro voter registration has already more than doubled. Now with this bill, the voice of justice speaks again. It proclaims that fair housing for all human beings who live in this country is now a part of the American way of life. We all know that the roots of injustice run deep. But violence cannot redress a solitary wrong or remedy a single unfairness. And we just must put our shoulders together and put a stop to both. The time is here. Action must be now.
Right. All right. So again, before we jump into our readings for today, I always have to really come back and just analyze that video, because as always, it shows two different stories. How they'll talk about the Negro, the Black, the colored, our particular group in these, propaganda outlets in the media, all of these proclamations, as he stated before. But when it comes to the documents, you will not see us represented within these documents. And that's actually shows here when it comes to the definitions as well. We already know they have never defined, they have never lawfully put us into this United States government as far as through Congress. But when it comes to the Indian, they do have a whole definition. So we definitely have to drill down on that. As we see here, Indian means any person who would be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States as an Indian under Section 1153, Title 18, United States Code, if that person were to commit an offense listed in the section in Indian country to which that section applies. So pretty much they're given that definition of what an Indian is. And as we stated last week, what that United States Code Title 18 is basically anything over crimes or criminal offenses. So again, just even showing the military occupation of these groups of people that again went west of the Mississippi during that American Removal Act, also known as the Indian Removal Act. So let you all kind of build on that, and then we'll jump into the Inventor as well as the readings.
Yeah, I think that is just important for us to continue to just uncover this information, because as I've stated before, and as we all agree, is that this information, it isn't really hard to find now. It's there for us to look up in the computer age and things of that nature. So we're just not represented, and this basically just shows it. There is a legal definition for Indian under this act, and it doesn't say Negro, Black, and colored. So if that's not a slap in the face, and for people to just be woke up off of that, it's just in a sad state. We just all need to get on the same page to move forward.
Yeah, for me, I'm just thinking 1968, what my father would have been graduated high school for 3 years, and he was drafted the day his generation was, they got their diploma in one hand and their draft papers in the other. So he graduated high school 1965. 1968, my mother would have been a sophomore in high school. She too ends up going to the military. So you got the Vietnam War going on against Asians. And you also have these Asian looking people that have stolen our birthright. In addition to that, you got the United States government assassinating Martin Luther King on April 4th. And then 7 days later, they come out with the 1968 Indian Civil Rights Act. So he lies when using the word Negro, because that's not in neither of the Civil Rights Acts that he referred to, 64, 65, and 68. And in addition, he lied about he mentioned the fair housing, but he neatly omitted Title II of that same act, which is the Indian Rights Act. Lastly, our people didn't have a lot of televisions in 1968, so we got to keep that in mind as well. So for him to be able to come out for the world to see, lights, camera, action, and say these things, to the world, that now the Negro has this and the Negro has that. But when you read the document, that word is nowhere to be found. And I suggest that you challenge your professors and your historian scholars, ask them to stand on the scale and ask them to provide the document where Congress, because Congress makes their law, has written Negro Black or colored or Afro-American into law and define what the Negro, Black, and colored or Afro-American is through that body, which is Congress, and they can't do it. So from a street standpoint, all these niggas who are history teachers have sold you out because it doesn't exist. Everybody who's on TV that uses the word Black, Afro-American, people of color, Negro, they all know that that language is not in here. The whole thing is to get you to go along and not think for yourself. So what I suggest to anybody who listening to this video is fuck what people say, read the documentation. I think that's the biggest thing we can take from the European. He will say one thing out of his mouth, he will write something completely different. You gotta read what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, that's a great point too that you made. Going back to the TVs and making a proclamation, as he stated within that video, and as he further stated that that is not law. Basically saying that, hey, the Negro now has these rights. So you come back thinking, you know, years later, even into today, after the continued brainwashing as far as the indoctrination camps called schools, of being told that, hey, these civil rights acts apply to the Negro specifically, and then, you know, everybody else was able to get these as well. But when you're actually reading those documents, the Negro was nowhere to be found. So that's very key in understanding that, again, like you stated, they'll say one thing, but the documents show another thing. But when it comes to the world, we're going to announce this, oh, everything's perfect, everything's good now. We've righted our wrongs with the Negro, and everybody else is able to come over here. And then if you see the Negro still doing bad, that's just because, you know, they can't help themselves. When in actuality, or when in reality, the Negro was never rectified. We were never put into these documents. So definitely great points there. So that's going to lead us into our American inventor for this week. And we have James E. West. Mr. West was born February 10th, 1931 in Farmville, Virginia. He actually holds over 250 foreign and US patents for the production and design of microphones and techniques for creating polymer foil electrets. I believe that's how you say it, electrets. This one in particular is for the microphone as well. So this was granted, this patent, January 14th, 1964. That patent number is US 311-80228. I'm just going to show here the graphic of how this was pretty much designed. So in this figure, as you can see here, it's got some electroacoustic transducer. Pretty much, I believe that's just to pick up the voice, just the vibrations from the voice. And as you can see here, some more figures. So this is very key, especially in regards to our group in particular, especially when it comes to the music industry. Without this American here, there would not be any ability to record on microphones, to record on what would be, you know, wax or, you know, discs later on, cassette tapes, things of that nature. It would not be as efficient and would not be as fluid or easily able to be done without this brother here. And this is James E. West. And as far as I know, his family does not reap any benefits from this invention. His brother's still alive. I believe he's 92. So
wow.
we have this brother still alive with us. But again, definitely just have to give him his flowers and honor this particular American today.
And was that Farmville, Virginia? Farmville, Virginia?
Farmville, Virginia,
Okay.
Farmville.
And the fact that we dominate the music industry, and you know, he was the inventor of the microphone.
A little bit on that invention.
What happened?
Can you scroll down a little bit on this invention? Can you just read that top part where it says, I, attorney, United States patent, just to get an idea of a little bit more specific of what, because if we're saying the microphone, we've seen people doing the microphone before that. That's why I just want to get a better idea of what exactly did he do different with his microphone?
So I, attorney, United States Patent 3118622, electro acoustic transducer, Gerard H. Sessler, Murray Hill, and James E. West. I believe that says Lane or Elaine Field, New Jersey. Assigners to Bell Telephone Laboratories Incorporated. So he was working for what would be pretty much known as Bell South, I believe. At that time, it was underneath a different name. Let's see here. Number 196679, sextilliums. This invention relates to electroacoustic transducers, and more particularly to such transducers of the electrostatic type. It has for its principal object the elimination of the necessity for any externally applied direct current biasing potential. A correlative objective, therefore, is the simplification of the electric current of electroacoustic transducers of the electrostatic type. Further objects are an increase in ellisisland, lower distortion, and a flat frequency response of such a transducer. So it seems to pretty much just made it more efficient, made it more effective as far as the microphone.
Yeah, eliminated static and distortion.
Mm-hmm.
With you.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. And that is our American inventor for this week. Next, we'll jump into this week's Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and I'll let you take it away there, Chief Alligator. You're on mute, you're on mute.
All right, give me number 5. Yeah. All right. Real education. Dr. Carter G. Woodson quote, the author and founder of what we know now as Black History Month. Real education means to inspire people to live more abundantly, to learn to begin with life as they find it and make it better. But the instruction so far given Negroes in colleges and universities has worked to the contrary. In most cases, such graduates have merely increased the number of malcontents who offer no program for changing the undesirable conditions about which they complain. One should rely upon protests only when it is supported by a constructive program. I chose this one because there's a difference between, the first point is there's a difference between schooling and education. Schooling is like what you do to a dog or a cat, like you're training it. Education, you're allowing people to live more abundantly because it's an enlightening experience to be educated versus being schooled. The second point on this, where he describes the Negroes that's in colleges, that's who's being thrown at us as they're the leaders of our group of people. But if they're the leaders, just look at all the L's that we take from an accounting standpoint: school to prison pipeline, redlining, the lowest percentage amongst other groups of people with business ownership. We're in last place across all sectors of any industry. So clearly, the idea that our college graduates are going to be our leaders, that's not the case. And lastly, for me, one should only rely upon protests when they're supported by a constructive program. We've been seeing this since Trayvon Martin, where these college graduates, they can organize to get you in the streets, but there's no program for anything to change. And we can just bring it all the way back to 2020. We're still waiting on the federal government to protect us as a group of people. No legislation has been written up by the Black Caucus or Congress since Tyree Nichols' murder. They threw the George Floyd Act out. Congress never voted to make that law. But what we know now, not even beating that drum anymore, is they cannot protect the Negro, Black, and colored, or Afro-American specifically, because it's never been recognized by the United States government through its Congress and law. So the idea that they get these fake leaders to get you out in the streets and to march around in circles, but there's no constructive program behind it. So these people don't know how to create anything. They don't know how to build anything that's substantial in the real world. It's all theory and it's all ideology, like Pan-Africanism, Christianity, Muslim, everything's a belief system. They can't make anything come to life. So that's why number 5 sticks out to me. Y'all can build on that.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand the difference between being schooled and educated, because when you're educated, you make educated decisions in how to move about and get things done. So I think that's a good point with this one. And like you said, in regards to the highly schooled people that are our spokespersons and our leaders, have definitely not gotten us anywhere on this journey. So they need to just step aside, and new leaders need to be put on the forefront, and we need to move forward with better education and knowledge.
Now, I second that. I think this quote goes perfect with the question posed within the chat. As far as our leaders, are they sellouts? And pretty much, I think this pretty much gives the definition of why that is. Like you stated, both of you just schooled in the enemy's ways. So they know how to continue to promote the enemy's ways without having to address the actual issue. Going back to, like you stated, Chief Alligator, going back to theory and belief systems, have classes about African-American history when we know that's not even a real thing. So that even further explains why we are pretty much where we are as a group. Just focus on the wrong things, focus on belief systems, focus on, again, ideologies, focus on things that won't be, as stated here, constructive for our group. And that just continues to show itself in today. So definitely a good quote for this week.
Shouldn't they be doing that though? Shouldn't they be doing what we're doing right now?
Correct.
I mean, shouldn't our highly schooled college graduates, shouldn't they be out in the forefront saying that the United States government's Congress has never defined lawfully what Negro, Black, color, or Afro-American is, that the United States government assassinated Martin Luther King, and we've never been specified in any of the Civil Rights Acts of 1964, 65, and 68. Shouldn't that group of people be doing what we're doing? So we're showing you the difference between highly schooled and highly educated. They should be talking the way we're talking.
Right.
I want to say anything on that before we move on.
That's the truth. That is definitely the truth. They don't want to. They're silent. They hide. They don't do anything. Like literally, they do nothing at all. But you're right. They should be the ones to be providing this information.
Yeah, this is a case and example. We 3 everyday people working, regular jobs and things of that nature, taking an hour out of our day to read documents that our highly schooled, those leaders of our group, are supposed to be doing and providing this education to our group. But we see they have not. So again, that in itself shows that they're a sellout. So I think we pretty much answered the question within the poll. But yeah, that's an excellent question. Why aren't they doing what we're doing as far as on this panel, what you all are doing within the chat, taking time out to actually read these documents, get this information out to your family, your friends, people within your community, so we can actually come together. Why aren't our leaders doing this? I think that's tells more of a story than anything else, that they are our enemies at the end of the day. I'll go ahead and pass it off to you, Chief Quietwater, for this week's legal definitions and maroon historical points.
All right. So the legal definitions: number 1, American, indigenous to America. Number 2, descendants, one who follow in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Number 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. Number 4, prisoner of war, a person, usually a soldier, who was captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Number 5, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. Number 6, education, an enlightening experience. Number 7, recovery, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength, the action or process of regaining possession of something stolen or lost. And the maroon historical points was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Number 2, unity and a strong defense came first. Number 3, maroons were first and foremost military figures. Number 4, maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks and thick grass. And number 5, maroons knew their Europeans' enemy languages, defenses, and plans.
Excellent, excellent. Without further ado, go ahead and jump into where we left off last week within the document. I believe we left off on page 14 where it says supplement here. Make this a little bit bigger. All right, cool. So subsection I, supplement, not supplant. Amounts made available under this section shall supplement and not supplant any other federal, state, or local government amounts made available to carry out activities described in this section. Subsection J, authorization of appropriations. 1, in general, there is authorized to be appropriated 25 million for each of fiscal years 2023 through 2027. So boom, right off the bat, you can see that this has been amended to pretty much, I guess, account for inflation as well as the coming fiscal years coming up. So we already see that they're accounting out 4 years for this particular group of people. See here, to carry out subsection H and to provide training, technical assistance, data collection, and evaluation of the criminal justice systems of the participating tribes. So again, all of this funding is going towards more military occupation, whether that's going to be at the ground level with your policy officers, or however their line of command is within these tribal jurisdictions. But it's all going to criminal and crime, criminal offenses and crimes. We have 2 here, limitations of the total amount made available under paragraph 1 for each fiscal year, not more than 40% shall be used for reimbursements under subsection H. Did any one of y'all want to build off of that little section there, as far as just the accounting, or if we're pretty good on that?
Yeah, you can't lose. I mean, you know, like you said on the Dr. Carter G. Woodson quote, we're everyday people, you know, some of us run businesses, some of us have jobs on this channel, but this right here is a can't lose situation from a business standpoint. They're going to front $25 million for 4 years, and they're going to provide training, technical assistance, data collection, and evaluation of criminal justice systems. So they're going to evaluate these tribes' criminal justice systems, and they're going to help. They're basically helping them. The United States government is investing $25 million in them incarcerating people in their tribes. That's basically what it is. And you can't, and you can't lose. So these participating tribes, the United States government is going to help you in every way and front you the bag to mass incarcerate what they call Native Americans.
I think that's key as well. Going back to folks trying to join some of these quote unquote 5 civilized tribes and get these memberships. So if you're joining these and you're seeing that they're funding, again, like you just stated, the criminal justice system, hey, we're going to train you, make sure that you can incarcerate your people. Who people do you think they're actually going to incarcerate? If they know, okay, look, folks are waking up. I think a lot of the Negro are trying to get back their own identity. Allow them to do so, but just understand that these are going to be the first people that you need to go ahead and lock up. So again, just kind of understanding the long game, same thing that we've been dealing with, you know, outside of the Oklahoma, also known as Indian Territory. But we can see here that they're already setting it up 4 years out in advance to, hey, we'll have
Right.
everything ready for you all. So by the time we do allow, these quote unquote freedmen, you see that that's something that's being promoted as well. By the time they get here, hell, y'all can just, hurry
And that's
into the prison
Oh,
system.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Right. But that's crazy too, is like we just said, that our leaders should be the ones who, I mean, they know this information, I'm sure, because this looks like it was enacted, was that March 15, 2022, to, because we're always coming in on the tail end of things. So, people are waking up, people are trying to, like you said, get their birthrights back. And we're already late because they already got this down 4 years all the way up until 2027. So we're already late with not even knowing that this information is out there. Because who's reading this document? The amended version of this document?
Absolutely.
Nobody.
Absolutely. And it makes sense now. We're thinking about this, just going back to even last week when we highlighted that 1866 Indian trial, of how they were talking about, okay, I'm not sure if we're going to have some more funds if we're going to be allowing these members, these other people to, into our tribes. So now you see how that happened. Okay, again, this came out or was amended March of last year. You have that 1866 Indian trial hearing, July, I believe, of last year. And now we're seeing again that they're already accounting or foreseeing 2023 into 2027, and they're allocating 25 million towards, again, arresting which group? The only group that is not represented underneath the system. So I think that's very key. I'll jump into Title III, Model Code Governing Courts of Indian Offenses, Section 301. The Secretary of the Interior is authorized and directed to recommend to the Congress on or before July 1st, 1968, a model code to govern the administration of justice by courts of Indian offenses on Indian reservations. Such code shall include provisions which will assure that any individual being tried for an offense by a court of Indian offenses shall have the same rights, privileges, and immunities under the United States Constitution as would be guaranteed any citizen of the United States being tried in a federal court for any similar offense. Assure that any individual being tried for an offense by a court of Indian offenses will be advised and made aware of his rights under the United States Constitution and under any tribal constitution applicable to such individual. Establish proper qualifications for the office of judge of the court of Indian offenses and provide for the establishing of educational classes for the training of judges of courts of Indian offenses. In carrying out the provisions of this title, the Secretary of the Interior shall consult with the Indians, Indian tribes, and interested agencies of the United States Code. This is very key. What I'm getting here, that the Secretary of Interior is pretty much going to be overseeing and making sure that these Indian tribes are in alignment with this United States Constitution when it comes to how they're handling, especially when it comes to how they're handling their criminal and crime offenses. They're going to be training and overseeing that these Indian tribes members, these judges, they're training these judges as well to be pretty much, faces for the United States government. So yeah, they're acting as, Indian judges, but they're pretty much going by United States Constitution or United States judges. So they're pretty much hand in hand, nothing really separate between the two. That's what I'm getting here.
Yeah, you got two groups of people that are living lies. You got the European who, every time that the European claims to be American, what they're doing is they're dishonoring their ancestors from Europe. Number two, it goes for the same for these Asian Mongoloids that are in the 5 civilized tribes. Their family comes from somewhere in Asia. So we can see why they would be in partnership and why they would be okay with the United States government's constitution superseding each tribe's constitution. Because remember, this is 1968. None of us on this channel are born yet. but they killed Martin Luther King and all the people who look like us that were getting attacked by dogs, hit with water hoses, right? So they end desegregation in 1964. They allow everybody around the world to be able to vote in 1965. And then 1968, you murder King on April 4th. And then April 11th, you turn around and you set this group of people up to be the Native American, right? So they're cool with living a lie. And then you got the European who's claiming to be American, who's cool with living a lie. Because the question still comes down to, if we're gonna play this color game, if your skin is quote unquote white, where in Europe is your family from? And 70% of them, 7 out of 10, if you ask that question, they can't tell you. They don't know who their family is because they were slaves. They were sent over here as slaves.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it just shows that, hey, they're pretty much making their own little figureheads. Like you stated, they're cool with, you know, playing a role. If we're going pretty much just, that's exactly what it is. It's just playing a role as the original or Aboriginal, the Indigenous American. And they're fine with, you know, whatever is given to them for playing that role. And they're fine with abiding by the United States rules and doing so. But yeah, that's pretty much what just was explained in that first little section in this Title III. Section 302, there is hereby authorized to be appropriated such sum as may be necessary to carry out the provisions of this title. Title IV, jurisdiction over criminal and civil actions. Section 401, assumption by state of criminal jurisdiction. Consent of the United States in general. The consent of the United States is hereby given to any state not having jurisdiction over criminal offenses committed by or against Indians in the areas of Indian country situated within such state, to assume with the consent of the Indian tribe occupying the particular Indian country or part thereof, which would be affected by such assumption, such measure of jurisdiction over any or all of such offenses committed within such within such Indian country, or any part thereof, as may be determined by such state, to the same extent that such state has jurisdiction over any such offense committed elsewhere within the state. And the criminal laws of such state shall have the same force and effect within such Indian country or part thereof as they have elsewhere within the state. So pretty much here is what it's saying, is that no matter where these Indian tribes are located, whether they're located in Oklahoma, anywhere within the United States, that the state in which these tribes are located, these quote unquote nations, the state has jurisdiction over them, over these tribes when it comes to their criminal laws. So whatever the hell the tribe may think they have as far as laws set up for particular crimes, they have to be, they're superseded by that state in which they're pretty much housed in. That's what I'm getting here.
Correct. So they're doing the same thing they did to the Negro that they're doing to the Native American. They're hitting them with the left, right. The left is the state fucking you over. And then the right hand would be the United States government fucking you over. So with us, it was the states Jim Crowing us. And then the right hand is the United States government never recognizing us through Congress in writing, which if Congress doesn't vote on it, it's not law. So the fact that Congress has never said Negro, Black, and colored or Afro-American in writing, that's the right hand that we getting hit with. The left hand is the states can individually fuck us over. If you can, real quick, Chief Biko, if you can stop sharing your screen and let Chief Quietwater share. We just want to pull up these fake 5 civilized tribes, and we just want to show what the chiefs look like from each one of these tribes, since we're in 1968, 1 week after Martin Luther King was assassinated by the United States government. Let's see who they propped up, because it's one thing to read this act, it's another thing to see what do the leaders of these tribes look like today. So Chief Quietwater, you can share your screen and let us see what the chief of the Seminole, Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Creek look like in 2023.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah, We can see it.
Okay. So we're looking for what the chief looks like.
Yeah, the officers of that government.
Contra government. Would that be here?
Could be tribal council. Let's see. And we just want to show this. Yeah. And we just want to show this.
Would that be, maybe not.
He's a chairman. Yeah, no, we
Okay,
want
let
to.
me see. Today's government. Tribal court. Introduction. Hmm.
Oh, click on today's government. That's the board of directors. Click on today's government. Right. Yep. No images. Is this the Seminole tribe that's in Oklahoma? No, that's Florida. Click on the ones that's in Oklahoma, or pull up the websites from the ones in Oklahoma. Because we all need to see. There we go. Because they contradict themselves on all their websites as well. When you click on the About Us page for every last one of these nations, they all admit that these nations were originally east of the Mississippi River. Chief Lewis J. Johnson.
Band of chiefs. It doesn't. It would be right here. It should be, right? If we're looking for the chiefs.
Correct.
But I don't think it has pictures.
Or executive office.
I'm about to say probably that executive office one. Might have to Google what they look like though. So Chief Lewis Johnson.
Copy his name. Yeah, it should be on their website. They got to have the images on because we've pulled this up before.
Where else should I look on here? Executive Office of the Treasurer. I'll just Google his name.
And all we want to do is we want people to see what these leaders of these governments in Oklahoma look like.
I just got it. Nothing here.
Can you click on images when you go back to Google of his name?
Yeah. Computer is going a little bit slow.
And it's best to just see it with our own eyes. There we go. So yeah, he was in the 1866 Indian Treaty hearing. So this is your leader of which nation? This is the Seminole?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the chief of the Seminole that's in Oklahoma. However, on their website, if you go to their About Us section, they're going to tell you the history of this tribe. And all 5 of these websites are going to admit that these tribes originate east of the Mississippi River. So I guess what they're trying to tell us is everybody that was east of the Mississippi River looks like this man. And I guess in addition to that, if they're going to be the American, then I guess all inventors that we've done for almost 2 years now, so we're talking about almost 104 weeks consecutively, we've given a different inventor. Why have we not seen the Asian Mongoloid invent anything yet?
Right. Actors.
So I'm confused. You claiming to be
actors.
you claiming to be the American. So you saying in Georgia, Carolina, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, as hot as it is in the South, okay, now who is this supposed to be? Go back. Go back a page. Who was that image of?
You said, who was
Oh,
that?
I'm sorry.
No, for real.
I don't even know where I was. I'm sorry. I was trying to, yeah.
Tabs.
Yeah, none of this shit makes sense. They can't make it make see. We're never supposed to ask simple questions because once you start asking simple questions, they can't make it make sense.
Mhm.
If you the American, then where you at in history? You should have music, the industries. I mean, your claim to fame should be all in the records.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that, no, that's not the chief, but I'm trying to see where his name is.
You see, check this out.
He's the health service director. So again, none of these people look anything remotely like us. They've literally just traded places like the movie Eddie Murphy back in the day. Can you work with that in the background to get the images right while we continue reading the 1968 Civil Rights Act?
Yeah, I will.
That way we can just show people so everybody can see who they're claiming to be the American, but there's no record of y'all doing. Damn, it's almost like, it's like if we were sent to China and we were propped up to be the Chinese, but people who look like us got no records of nothing in China's history, right? All the records of in China are gonna look like the people from China, right? So all the records on this land are from people who look like us, but you got another group of people claiming to be us. What documentation are they standing on other than the fact that another group of people who claiming to be us, the European, is vouching for them? So you got two motherfuckers living lies. You on mute.
My bad. I said these folks got establishment dates that our own individual family lineages go back further than. I'm talking about these damn things are established, 1867, some 1877, but they're claiming to be the original American. Nah, it don't make sense. And like you stated, that's a great example that you use, as far as, if we went over to China and now we're claiming that we are the native Chinese people. Huh? That's how crazy this shit sound. But for some reason, for the highly schooled of our group, they think that's, pseudoscience or some crazy shit. When they whole educational system or schooling system deals in that, in theory and belief systems and things of that nature. So yeah, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. But nah, I think that was an excellent example that you just gave.
Right, and one more thing: if they're the American, why don't we see images of them swinging from trees? I'm just saying, like, if y'all had the land, we know they were killing us and hanging us for land. We know they were running us out of towns. Where y'all at?
Bingo.
Where the images at of the Asian mongoloid hanging from trees? Where's the stories of the towns you had that you were being run out of? Where y'all at? Where's your towns that's buried up under lakes?
Don't exist.
It don't exist.
So it looks, I'm sorry, it looks like for the Chickasaw, it looks like they don't have a quote unquote chief, but they have a who is referenced as a governor of the nation, which is that picture that I had showed before.
Okay. You got them all pulled up. I'll let you take over the screen real quick.
Well, no, I was just saying, you guys can keep going.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Got you. Well, shoot, I'll continue with this reading through the document. Then we stopped off on concurrent jurisdiction at the request of an Indian tribe and after consultation with the consent by the Attorney General, the United States shall accept concurrent jurisdiction to prosecute violations of Section 1152 and 1153 of Title 18 United States Code within the Indian country of that Indian tribe. So again, pretty much the same thing that we just read in section 1. Basically, concurrent means that it has to go with whatever United States says has to go with as far as their criminal jurisdiction and their criminal laws pertain to. So nothing in this section shall authorize the alienation, encumbrance, or taxation of any real or personal property, including water rights belonging to any Indian or Indian tribe, band, or community that is held in trust by the United States or is subject to a restriction against alienation imposed by the United States, or shall authorize regulation of the use of such property in a manner inconsistent with any federal treaty, agreement, or statute, or with any regulation made pursuant thereto, or shall deprive any Indian or Indian tribe, band, or community of any right, privilege, or immunity afforded under federal treaty, agreement, or statute.
Hold on, that's key right there. Go back up. That first sentence is nothing in this section shall authorize the alienation, encumbrance, or taxation of any real or personal property, including water rights belonging to any Indian or any Indian tribe, band, or community that is held in trust by the United States or is subject to a restriction against alienation. So the United States government has these 5 civilized tribes who they incorporated during the 1830s, during the Indian Removal Act, under trust. They have them under trust. And so what they're saying right here is no taxation of any real or personal property, including water rights belonging to any Indian or so here we go back. You got faking motherfuckers who's acting to be us, and they're reaping the benefits as if they're really from the land. They're not supposed to be taxed by this United States government. Meanwhile, you got the people whose birthright was stolen, the Negro, Black, colored, and Afro-American. He pays taxes and he isn't even written in law through the United States government. That's why we say stop supporting the system. We have to boycott this shit. You're being taxed without being represented. You've never been written into law through Congress. I don't know how many times we have to stress that. Congress makes their law. They never wrote us into law. So they're taxing our group of people without representation of our people, because you're not a part of their government. Anything y'all want to say on that? I mean, it's really just that simple. This shit ain't rocket science.
Yeah, I mean, shit, you can't put it more plain than that. You're not represented in our government structure. So don't come to us about any of your complaints. Just make sure you have that payment by what's that, April 18th, tax day. Make sure you have that payment that you owe us by Tuesday. We don't want to hear shit else you got to say. Just make sure you have that fiat being paid to us, and then go about your day. That's it, plain and simple. Now it makes sense why they cut off, what's his name? Justin, I forget his last name, why they cut off his mic. Like, bro, we don't want to hear from you. Like, shut up. None of the shit you saying is relevant to our government. So yes, your mic will be shut off. Yes, we will expel you from whatever our, political theater is, because you're invisible, bro. You're non-existent in our structure. So now it makes sense why they can do that, or how they do that. Because again, like you stated, we're not represented within this government structure.
Right. And we gotta, what we're saying is we've read, okay, acts come through their Congress. What we're saying is nobody can show you anything that Congress has ever voted on and written as legislation that has the words Negro, Black, colored, or Afro-American. That's what we're saying. We couldn't say that until we read the 1964, the 1965, and now the 1968 Civil Rights Acts. What we're saying is they use these words through media, but they never wrote it on paper. So you don't exist under the government in writing, which means you're being taxed without being represented. You know how you know something? You know how you know something and you don't want to say it until you get there?
Yeah.
It's like, once we really get this, bro, it's like we should be pulling up on all capitals across this land. Like everything stops. Like, wait a minute. Fuck all these fabricated groups of people. Fuck all these immigrants. We are the oldest on the land. You have never written us into law, Congress. It's just that simple. Yeah. Nobody can show you a document that Congress wrote that says Negro, Black, or colored, or Afro-American on it. But they'll say it out their mouth through the TV and they'll create a Black caucus. But yeah, maybe I'm not wording it right, but when we really get it, we're supposed to tear this bitch up.
Ain't that what the European did to even start this whole system up? What, no taxation without representation? The Stamp Act or whatever they call that shit?
I mean, we being dead serious, man. I mean, if there's a person on Congress, how many people in the chat, Chief Quietwater? You on mute.
I was looking up the thing. Let me see. Can one of y'all look, because I just accidentally X'd out of it.
I think we got 46 in there.
Okay, so out of 40-something people in the chat, I'm sure everybody is not active in the chat. Somebody that's listening to this video may be an attorney, a governor, a senator, a person in Congress. What we're proving, we're saying that it ain't a motherfucker that's a public servant at the state, local, or federal level that can show you where Congress voted and wrote in law the words Negro, Black, colored, or Afro-American, nor did they give the definition of it like they did the Indian in the 1968 Civil Rights Act. That's what we're saying. Nobody can show you a document. So why the fuck are we participating in something that, and when it comes to what's being written, it never was written? Joe Biden can't pull the document. None of the motherfuckers in Congress can pull a document that says Negro, Black, and colored Afro-American. Here's the definition of it. Here's the act that's protecting the Negro, Black, and colored. That shit don't exist.
Yeah.
Go get Maxine Waters, go get everybody in the Black Congressional Caucus, go get all your preachers, go get all your constitutional lawyers, get Barack Obama. None of them niggas can show you where Negro, Black, and colored, or Afro-American is written in the law. They all full of shit and they all been lying to you. It's the bait and switch. I'm gonna stop right there.
I mean, this is as simple as you could put it, be honest with you. As simple as you could put it. And it's even crazier, again, you know, like you said, no taxation or no representation, but all the taxation. And even when we know this currency is fiat, is backed by nothing, it's pretty much monopoly money, they won't even give our group the goddamn monopoly money. They won't even give us the coupons that we know is worthless. But yet you better have that taxes paid or else. So as stated, understanding what we're reading, we're not being represented underneath this this system, yet we're still being taxed in multiple ways, not even with just the fiat currency. You're being taxed in every way you could think of, and still haven't, as a group, you know, resorted to violence and just said, fuck all this shit. It's mind-boggling. But it goes back to those, you know, highly schooled of our group that are propped up as our leaders and that continue to promote this lie, saying that these civil rights acts, you know, apply to us when, as stated before, we haven't seen anything regarding the Negro, Black, or colored in any of these documents. Anything, Chief Quietwater, you want to add to that?
No, I agree with both of you. we just, like I just put it in the chat, we just have to stop trying to, we're trying to force our way. It's really on a mass scale that is not for us. It was never for us. And we have to realize that.
Correct.
So until more of us wake up and know this information, we're going to be seeing you to spread the word, and people will continue to build and get the information out there, because that's the only way we're going to be able to move forward, in my opinion.
Correct. Correct. Definitely agree with everything you just stated there. I'll continue here, and then we'll jump to you with those images. That way everybody in the chat can see who these frauds are. I believe we stopped off on the top of this here. So assumption by state or civil jurisdiction, section 402. The consent of the United States is hereby given to any state not having jurisdiction over civil causes of action between Indians, or to which Indians are parties with which arise in the areas of Indian country situated within such state, to assume with the consent of the tribe occupying the particular Indian country or part thereof, which should or which would be affected by such assumption, such measure of jurisdiction over any or all such civil causes of action arising within such Indian country or any part thereof, as may be determined by such state, to the same extent that such state has jurisdiction over that over other civil causes of action, and those civil laws of such state that are of general application to private persons or private property shall have the same force and effect within such Indian country or part thereof as they have elsewhere within that state. So again, what it's saying here is that, again, even when it comes to civil cases, not only just criminal, that the state has jurisdiction over that as well for these Indian tribes and like too. So pretty much you have to, you're subject to everything regarding the United States if you want to join one of these quote unquote 5 civilized tribes. You still answer to the United States, so you're not sovereign.
Right, but they cool with it because they've been defined by the United States Congress. See, that's the key. See, the document, they have the 1968 Civil Rights Act to say, hey, go to Title II. We've been defined by Congress, which makes it lawful. We're talking under the Europeans government. They got a document they can stand on and say, hey, we've been recognized. That's probably where the word recognized come from. The Europeans has never recognized us on our own land. So
Wow.
I'm gonna keep going back to this. Ask anybody. Barack Obama is a constitutional lawyer. Hit Congress, ask anybody, where is the document that Congress wrote that says Negro, Black, colored, or Afro-American on it? Don't show me a newspaper. Don't show me a book. Show me where Congress voted and passed into law, the House and Senate, and wrote what the definition of Negro is, colored, Black, or Afro-American, or even use the word Negro, Black, colored, or Afro-American. That's why we've read these damn documents. It doesn't exist. And how we just walking around like we a part of this shit that's pimping. Now that's pimping, that's guerrilla pimping. When you got a group of people walking around willing to fight for a government that never has written in law that you recognize.
I think it just hit right there. You say that recognized, where that recognized term comes from. We've never been recognized as a group, and that's straight up facts.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Now that you mention that.
Let me see here. I'll continue on subsection B. Nothing in this section shall authorize the alienation, encumbrance, or taxation of any real or personal property, including water rights belonging to any Indian or Indian tribe, band, or community that is held in trust by the United States or is subject to a restriction against alienation imposed by the United States, or shall authorize regulation of the use of such property in a manner inconsistent with any federal treaty, agreement, or statute, or with any regulation made pursuant thereto, or shall confer jurisdiction upon the state to adjudicate in probate proceedings or otherwise the ownership or right to possession of such property or any interest therein. So pretty much the same thing that they stated within the criminal section here above, basically stating that, again, this is all within a trust or being held within a trust by the United States. I'll continue here.
I'll grab your next section. Where you at?
Right here, see?
See?
Yeah.
No, you finish that off and then we'll end there for the day.
Okay. Any tribal ordinance or custom thereto or hereto or hereafter adopted by an Indian tribe, band, or community in the exercise of any authority which it may possess of the state, if not inconsistent with any applicable civil or civil law of the state, be given full force and effect in the determination of civil causes of action pursuant to this section. So any tribal ordinance or custom hereto or hereafter adopted by any Indian tribe, band, or community in the exercise of any authority which it may possess of the state, if not inconsistent. So again, if it's not contrary to whatever that state's civil laws are, then they are pretty much allowed to have that law in place. Basically, is what this last section here is stating.
So it's really like they're refugees. Can you go back up to the definition of Indian as we close out today? And we're gonna let Chief Quietwater pull up the images. Again, just got repetition is the key, excuse me, repetition is the key to learning. We got to keep banging this so our people can get it, because once we get it, it's no more why are we being apologetic. What we're saying, what we're saying is this right here. Nope, scroll up. Title 2, where it says Title 2. Right there. If you're looking at the screen right now, here's what we're saying. Congress makes acts. Title 2 of the 1968 Civil Rights Act, 1 week after they killed Martin Luther King, they did a bait and switch on our people. All that water hosing and dogs sicked on our grandparents and all that. They gave a definition for what an Indian tribe is, and what an Indian court is, and what an Indian is. You got 4 definitions under Section 201, Title 2, Rights of Indians definitions. What we're saying, because we have read the treaties, we've read the Homestead Act, we've read the Freedmen's Bureau Act, we've read the 1866 Indian treaties, we've read the 1964, 65, and now the 68 Civil Rights Acts. We've read these acts. You will never see definitions and see the word Negro or Black or colored or Afro-American in writing, but you see it for Indian. How long is it going to take for us to realize this shit and just pull up and ask simple questions? Where's the document? You were never supposed to figure this out. So the people who look like us, who've always talked about the civil rights era via TV, they've been paid off and they sold us out. Why have they never showed us this? We were never supposed to read the documents. If you want to hide something from a nigga, you put it where? It's 55 years later. King 55 years ago last. 55 years it took for us to figure this shit out. So the more of us that understand this and have these documents, if it don't piss you off, then I guess you don't have kids. I guess you don't have family. Like, you're being lied to every day. If you ask a scholar, if you in college right now, you got a Afro-American studies class, ask your scholar, where's the document that Congress gave the definition of Negro, Black, and colored, or Afro-American? They can't produce it. Can one of y'all make it any simpler than that? Maybe Chief Water, Chief Biko. How more simpler can we put this shit?
I think that's as simple as it can get.
Yeah.
You can't break it down no more. We just have to open up our eyes and realize the facts.
You know, I mean, just when you ask that question, have this same document. So it looks like the Indian has a definition. Hey, Dr. Carr, hey, any of your professors, any of your highly schooled people that always promoting this Afrocentric shit, this African American shit. Hey, where is the definition then, since we were, you know, since these civil rights and hell, even if it's not civil rights, just find me any document where Congress has gave the definition for African American, since, you know, that's what you're saying we are, Negro, color, or Black. Just give me the document so I can see it, because I see the Indian has a whole definition. So, you know,
Right.
we had to have something where we're recognized if we're a part of this government, right? That says something along these lines. And just
And
ask.
what's ironic is the picture that you sent for the thumbnail. The picture shows the Indian, but it's the Civil Rights Act that he was signing, you know.
Correct.
Right in our face. It's like a slap in the face.
Mhm.
Got to open up our eyes.
That's why it's so easy for them to say it, you know, within media. You know, we'll talk about you niggas in, you know, the public domain and the newspapers and your TV programming, on your social media. We'll talk about you niggas there. But when it comes to the actual shit that we abide by, the actual, they don't even abide by. But when it comes to the actual law, these documents,
Right.
non-existent.
Yeah.
You're not a player in this video game. I'm not sure why you're trying to create an avatar. We'll let you, but you won't get any of your VC, you won't get any, you know, skin color. You're not gonna get anything because you're not a part of this system. So we'll let you, you know, play along if you want to, but you know, that's on you all's fault, or that's on you all, and that's what this government's been doing. We'll let you continue to think you're a part of this system, and we'll continue to take your money. But when it comes to any representation, like in this document, nah, you're not gonna have anything that says Negro, colored, African American, hell, whatever the fuck we want to call y'all. It's not gonna be in any of our documents.
Right. Right. And it's really embarrassing, because you think about all the killings and the water hose and the church bombings and the dogs being sicked on our grandparents. And they prove that the pen is mightier than the sword. They literally beat us with the pen. But on the flip side of that, that's how weak this shit is. Because now we know. That's the downside of knowledge. Now you know.
Right.
It's okay to be ignorant. You know, the universe takes care of baby and fools. You're no longer a fool. If you're rocking on this channel, you now know, go find the document. Matter of fact, just go through the archives on this channel. Go find the document where Congress has lawfully defined and recognized in writing Negro, Black, colored, or Afro-American. You're not going to find it. All the documents that's supposed to pertain to us, you're not going to find it. You would think in the Freedmen's Bureau Act that's supposed to apply to us, clearly you would see the word Negro, Black, colored, or Afro-American, right? No, you don't.
No.
What about the 1866 Civil Rights Act? Most people don't know about that, but that's the first Civil Rights Act that some of us try to say, oh, that was our Civil Rights Act. There's no Negro, Black, and colored defined or written in that.
No.
What about your Emancipation Proclamation? That is not law, based on Lyndon Baines Johnson that we play that video at the beginning of every one of these civil rights readings that we've done. Emancipation Proclamation doesn't say Black, Negro, colored, or Afro-American. So why do you think that document pertains to you? It's because people who look like you have told you that it does. And you never read it for yourself. So the gig is up now. We've read the document. They never wrote it in law.
I'll let you go take over.
Oklahoma.
I'll let you go take over that cheap quiet water.
Okay. All right, so this is Chief. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Chickasaw, this person isn't referenced as a chief, it just says governor of the tribe, Bill Anatubby for the Chickasaw tribe. right. The Choctaw Chief Gary Batten is here. Muskogee Creek here. Wait a minute. Choctaw. I put the wrong, this is the Cherokee. Put the wrong name, but here we go. And Chief Lewis Johnson for the Seminole chief.
And I mean, straight face, just straight taking your birthright.
Yep.
And so once you've done the homework, you just ask the simple question, man, where are y'all? Where are y'all in American history? Where your, damn, if this your land, you ought to be able to know it and master it like no other group of people. You should be inventing everything on this land if you the original. Why are we the only group of people that fought every war on this land? No other group of people can say they fought in every war on this land but us.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't your music, why aren't people coming here to mimic the way that you make music? Why is it that we go back to a Motown era and we can go back to the jazz era? Why is it that we can see Sammy Davis Jr. and Bojangles and all these tap dancers and all this entertainment? Why is it that it all come back to us? Where y'all at? If y'all supposed to be the American, why ain't nobody mimicking what y'all got going on?
That's shit. I'll go back to what Copper Empress said. Shit, bunch of Jackie Chan cousins acting as our ancestors, or acting as the American. Shit don't make no sense, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I see. Yeah, you should. We should be pissed. You know. Like you said, it just all of these inventions we've created, all of these industries we've created, that the world has benefited from, whether it's, you know, any industries or music, whatever it may be. But these people are, again, still in our birthright.
And they're still on the defense too, because just like we just read, they're forecasting, you know, years ahead for the, you know, the prison system. And we're just always reactionary, like we always say. We're never on the defense, but they stay on defense, trying to figure out some kind of way to keep us out.
And it just boggles me that you can go back to the black and white era. You know, I'm old enough to remember when I was real young, you know, you would see Little Rascals or what's the other one? Yeah, Little Rascals.
I'm not as old as you, so I don't know.
We the same.
That's funny. You trying to get some backup. Damn.
Right. Nah, you ain't gonna put me out there like that. But no, what I'm saying.
Little Rascals. What's the other one? That I think they just made a remake of with the whole.
Three Stooges.
Three
Stooges, wasn't that black and white?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, why is the quote unquote Native American nowhere in none of that stuff that when we were young, we watched? You're nowhere. You would think that you would be in some type of cinema, because even in the cowboy and Indian movies that my uncles and my great uncles and aunts used to watch when I was young, that's white people dressed up with red paint on their face. So that ain't even you. So damn, what?
Shout out to Noble Autumn Bay. Yeah, I definitely have seen that. The Italian man posing as the Native American. And for years, it's a TV version. So, yeah. So how is it? It can't be far-fetched for our group of people, not anybody in the chat, because I know we are high vibration, but folks, you know, they're showing you, they got a whole Italian playing a Native American. What makes you think that the Native American can't be playing us?
Right.
But the only thing is he can't pass the acid test.
Facts.
Because he has no claim to anything on this land. Just like we can claim the Tuskegee Airmen, we can claim the Harlem Hellfighters. Every war on this land, we can claim an elite group of fighting people. Where y'all at? Since you're supposed to be the American, where your elite fighting people at from World War I, World War II, Korea War? Vietnam War. No, you motherfuckers just tucked off on a reservation. You refugees from another landmass and you being hidden and protected. If it's your land, why ain't you fighting for it? Why we fighting?
Bingo.
Right.
If it's your land, why ain't you fighting?
You cool. You content. You content.
Right.
Your little plot of land. Your little, you know. You content.
We don't see you flying no jets. You know what I'm saying? Like the Tuskegee Airmen. Y'all, where y'all at? Y'all ain't nowhere. Well, damn.
And chilling.
I mean, it's very simple, really.
Yeah. They said, why would we fight? We cool. They gave us this shit. We good. We gonna fight against y'all if anything, because shit, we want to keep whatever the fuck we got from the United States. So yeah.
Can you pull up that image that we got on the thumbnail? We'll close out with that. This is the funniest when you sent this as the image we were gonna put on the thumbnail for this one, man.
Dang, I gotta see.
I damn near choked because
You got it there, Chief?
Yeah, hold on one second. I know I did. I don't know if I did that on my phone or. Oh, okay, yeah.
this is the power of media. What we're about to show you, and you know, we weren't born at that time, but I'm pretty sure they were burning down Detroit and all. You know, we heard the stories about the riots of the '68 after they killed King. We were burning down towns and cities. But we probably had no idea what they put in writing. Now we can see right here, the same video that we play. This is what they had going on when Lyndon Baines Johnson sat up there and said a bold-faced lie, talking about now the Negro can eat and go to the restaurant. These are Europeans dressed up like Indians. Do you see that?
It's that Italian actor you was
It's
talking
literally
about.
a stage play, y'all.
Yeah. It's that Italian actor you was talking about. Shit, they all look like they Italian or some shit.
It's lights, camera, action.
Mm-hmm.
This shit is lights, camera, action. This is who was up there with Lyndon Baines Johnson while he's telling the world the Negro now has the right to go to a restaurant and, you know, eat at any place he wants, equal employment, and then the fair housing. Off to the side of him, the main camera was just showing Lyndon Baines Johnson. This camera's on the side, and look, they all got a little smirk on their face, like, yeah, we about to run it on these niggas today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's horrible.
We finna get some tax-free land and resources. We don't play.
They just waiting till the ink dry.
I mean, these are literally Europeans. Like, take the feathers off and come on. They don't even look. Buddy in the middle can't even hold his face straight. He got
he ready to laugh, like real shit.
Like they really going for this shit.
No, that's real. He's
like, hell no. They really going for this.
He like, I dress up like this shit if I'm finna get paid. Fuck you talking about. He's like, shit. Give me the hairdress. He was about to paint his face if they allowed him to. Shit.
Oh my God.
Man, yeah, he can't even hold a straight face.
And it's sad, man, because, you know, we were out there, not we, but our ancestors was out there rioting, and they literally doing this ritual in front of the world. And here we are 55 years later, and people who speak for us through media, they've never admitted to this reality that we're building on every Sunday. They've never admitted that the 1968, it wasn't a Civil Rights Act, it was an Indian Rights Act. We've never heard nobody who looks like us say that. That's a problem. And it's mind-blowing. If it's some teachers in listening to this video, man, like, damn, once you pull up these documents, man, you got to feel like the lowest thing on earth, man, because you've literally poisoned generations of us. Because again, you would think somebody that looks like us would have been exposed what they did in writing. And nobody on a national media stage has ever admitted that it's an Indian Rights Act that they came out with 1 week after they killed Martin Luther King. Nobody even tells you that it was 1 week that this act came out after they killed them. They don't even tell you that.
Facts. Facts.
Mhm.
That shit seemed like
There's some good activity in the chat tonight, everybody. Thank you for tapping in.
Who can we shout out in the chat?
shit, Empress Vicky, Miss Lita, Full
Mhm.
Chill, Karen Williams, Enoch 0407, Dark Cable, the Amore. Of course, you know, the original Copper Empress, Chief Kawishito, Fleming, Phyllis Brown, Miss Phyllis Brown. Definitely got a good chat today. Ty Sky, Noble Autumn Bay. So yeah, definitely shout out to y'all, man, rocking with us tonight. And yeah, I mean, we see what these documents say, man. They don't address nothing regarding our group of people.
Yeah, shout out Copper Empress as well, and everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. And we just gonna keep working this document and just keep beating this drum. The more of us start asking these questions, the more the gig is up, y'all. They never wrote us into law, so you're being taxed without being represented. Your Black Caucus is fake and a fraud. It represents Africa. It doesn't represent you, the Negro. How long do we have to go? The truth is out there now. Got the document. It's public information. There's no boogeyman behind this shit. It's public record. The next thing is to start challenging these public officials.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I challenge shit this next election cycle. Every time one of these motherfuckers get up and try to speak, should be silence, cutting off the mic. Say shit unless you regarding the Negro, unless you regarding the American, the real American. Because you obviously don't represent, you know, us, you know, your Black Caucus, anybody trying to run for any type of office and shit. Nah, all that shit is deaded. All that shit has to be deaded immediately.
Well, to be a little bit more specific, man, now that knowing is half the battle, once you raise the frequency of the people, the next step is to challenge public servants. But it has to be on a collective, it has to be collective, and it should be intellectual. It doesn't have to be low frequency. Like for real, I would love to have an intellectual. It's not a debate because we got proof of claim, so we're not debating. But you know who I would like to rock with us challenging Congress or some public servants. Of course, everybody on this channel, but give me AB TV and give me Copper Empress. You know what I'm saying? And bring your best public servant, and we gonna make these documents talk and do what it do. And it's gonna have to take everyday people of us. But again, it's got to be this next coming up election cycle, man. We're gonna have to organize and show up at one specific location and pretty much take that mic and speak truth through that mic. We can't keep doing. The goal is not to keep doing this. The goal is to get enough people to realize what's happening, what's going on. Here go the records, here go the proof of claim. We ain't crazy. We ain't coming with no pseudo shit. Now, when we gonna come from behind the scenes and actually pull up at one of these events? And
we need to be on a campaign trail, just like them,
Real
following
shit.
them to every
jumping
every
the
city.
Tennessee, Alabama, it do not matter. Every day, real talk, real shit.
Right. Have these acts with you and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Nobody ask other questions. Show us the document where you wrote us into law. Like that needs to be the whole. We ain't talking about gays. We ain't talking about illegal immigrants. Fuck about your fake wars. All we want to know is why are we've never been recognized by this government? And let's see what these public servants got to say. But we got to come from behind these screens, man, and do it. We've been armed with the information now. So this shit ain't about no fiat. This shit ain't about no money.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's the plan. Where y'all at with that shit? Like at some point, we gonna have to come out and challenge these people. We got the truth. So why are we thinking these people better than us? They're public servants.
Right.
They're not gods.
They're everyday people too. They just people. They just silent.
Nobody in the Black Caucus is above the law. You understand what I'm saying? You just memorize your speech. You're not.
Copper
not.
Empress said she with it.
Huh?
I said Copper Empress said she with it. What's up?
Yeah, and I'm dead ass serious. Like for real, like that's the next step. Like we all got the information now. So now it's time for the people to come to these public servants. You're not God, you're not Lord, you're not special. You're not, and to be truthful about it, it's a lot of us in the private sector. They got more. Look, they're employees of the federal government, no more, no less. They're employees of the federal government.
And they're supposed to be working for us.
Well, we know they're not going to work for us because we've never been written in the law, but we do need to challenge them on that and be like, you know what? And even the people who look like us, we need to do them the same way, the Roland Martins of the world, all of them. Why do you keep calling us black? Show us a document that Congress actually wrote black in.
Right.
Roland Martin. You got all them lawyers on your panel. No, I'm just saying, and it ain't, I'm just being just as a grown ass man. Roland Martin, show us the document where they wrote black in law. Show us the document where they wrote Negro in law, or colored in law, or Afro-American in law. Why you niggas keep calling that shit that don't exist in law? It ain't hard. And that go for the European too. This whole fake white supremacy shit. Like, come on, it's not. This shit is built off of. It's all in your mind. There is no money. We'll get to that when we get to the Gold Standard Act. They killed King, protected the so-called fake Native American with the 1968 Civil Rights Act. 3 years later, they took the money out the system. The same year they took the money out the system, they created a Black Caucus. From that Black Caucus gives federal allotted resources for certain Negroes who create organizations, AKA 501c3s. And so these niggas created all these Black organizations. That's when you get this Black Panther movement and all that shit. Them just 501c3 organizations, which means they don't pay tax, but they can't go against the government. So here we are, damn near 55 years later, you got all this Afro-American and Black movement. Black didn't even exist in 1968. Lyndon Baines Johnson said Negro. He did not say Black. So all that shit came once they took the money out the system and created the Black Caucus. So we got to look at them niggas too and say, okay, so you're supposed to be this Black organization. Show us where Black is written in law. You a Black Panther? You part of the Black Liberation Movement? Or you part of that clique that Dr. Umar Johnson and like you said, Dr. Carr and all them, that's a belief system. Afro-American, what they call it, Pan-Africanism is an ideology.
Right.
It's not your bloodline. So we can even play that game. Show us where Congress wrote what the definition of Afro-American is. They can't even do that. So why you niggas around here calling us stuff that don't exist in law through Congress?
No, it's really no worse, no better than a man calling himself a woman. I think he a woman. Y'all all sick in the fucking head.
Right. How deep does the rabbit hole go?
You'll sit just a little bit closer to the surface, but you still sick.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the bullshit? But no, definitely feeling the vibration, feeling the vibes in the chat, man. Everybody in agreement. So yeah, we definitely got to get that going for real.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start organizing as we move through this thing. And this next election coming up, we're gonna have to make noise.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make noise. And it's gonna be professional, it's gonna have decorum to it, but the world needs to see the educated of us on that stage. The world needs to see a Chief Quietwater, a Chief Biko, a Chief Alligator, a Copper Empress. The world needs to see the real story be told. Because y'all not representing us in front of the world, and that's being real.
Yeah.
I don't think y'all ready for it. I don't give a fuck in a positive way. Like I don't put none of these people on pedestals.
Same.
I got more responsibility in the world than all them motherfuckers do. So I mean, it ain't nothing to me. I don't give a fuck. I mean, we can pull up. We the adults, it's on us now. We supposed to be in the prime of our lives, right?
Yeah.
So how long are we gonna keep blaming our parents? That's damn near, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but they closer to the graveyard than they are in their prime. So how long are we gonna keep blaming them? At some point, we got to stand up. We that hip hop generation. You know what I'm saying? We the hip hop generation. If they don't give a damn, we don't give a fuck. That's what, like, I mean, for real, they showing us they don't give a damn. So why we
Real.
giving a fuck?
For real. Hey, that's what
True.
in the line. Shit. So shit, trying to live by it. So shit, I'm
Yeah.
down.
It ain't nothing to it but to do it.
No, for real.
I'm
Shit,
dead ass serious.
I am in alignment.
Definitely a great bill.
Yes, sir. All right, and y'all, till next time. Shoot.